and welcome to season 2 of My Psychic Connection, and welcome to the very first installment of I Am Human. So we're going to be doing things a little bit differently today, but first and foremostly, my name is Bunny Sugars, and I'll be your host for this evening. So I Am Human is a more podcast-like show, so I'm going to want you guys to go get a snack, get a drink. We're going to cozy up. We're having conversation today. So this is not going to be your average psychic type of show. We won't be answering questions or drawing cards. We will be answering questions, however, particularly pertaining to our special guests and the background lives of psychics and spiritualists and how exactly we navigate this world with the types of gifts that we do have. So remember, we are taking questions at the very final 15 minutes of this show. And do remember, we have some wonderful shows lined up for you this evening. So just make sure that you stay tuned toward the end, and I'll list off what shows are coming up next in order after mine. And that's where you'll be able to answer those burning hot questions that you have about your personal life. But today is just a little bit different. So to kind of get started, I want to introduce someone very special to me. She is my soul sister. We have been friends for a little bit of time, but this is the first time I'm ever allowed to interview her. And remember, you are free to ask questions, but I would love to introduce my very first guest for our very first installment, the beautiful, amazing, the fabulous Psychic K, the intuitive. Welcome.
Hello. Hello. I'm so excited.
I'm so happy to have you here. We've had so many firsts together. We've had way too many firsts together. So I hope you're ready. We're going to just slowly work our way into this interview. It's going to feel good and natural. So give whatever questions you are, or not questions, give me whatever answer you feel comfortable with. Don't feel pressured to do nothing or say nothing you don't want to. So are you ready?
I'm ready. I'm an open book.
Look, we're going to have a good time because I've got questions. I'm curious. All right, so to kind of get to know you a little bit, you classify yourself as an intuitive, and I do as well. We're kind of a very interesting class of spiritualists because we just know crap. Like, that's how we just know things. But I feel like kind of from an early age, we start experiencing that, but we like, at what age did you kind of realize you were coming into this, or even just start having little experiences with your intuition like that?
Well, it's different because I had several intervals in life that were huge for me. So I was 4 whenever I first saw death, which is what I always tell people. I saw death first. And when I was 8, at that point, things kept happening. Like, and when I say I'd see death, I would see it in people's eyes. I would see that they would get sick. I would see that there may be something that was wrong. I could feel it in a sense, but I had no idea what that was at that time. So when I was 8, my stepmom actually took me to the pastor at my church, and he let me know that that there was prophets in the Bible. And that basically I had prophecy, and so that this wasn't a curse. This wasn't something, because I only took it as bad. All I was seeing was death.
Right.
I still didn't understand it. He was like, it's a blessing. You can do something with it. And I didn't know what that was. So then 18, you notice the numbers 4, 8, 18. It's crazy, right? 18, there was this huge moment where I almost lost my brother, but I had asked him to do certain things. Like, I talked to him on the phone and told him I wanted him to do these certain things. And he's still alive, and that was my first time I saved someone. But then 28, look at the 8s, right? Then at 28,
super important.
I actually dived more completely into this realm, and that's when it was my full awakening, is what I would say. But yeah, the 4, 8, 18, and 28, they were big numbers for me.
Yes, I can kind of relate to that as well, because as an intuitive, death is a first. Death was the first thing I saw as well, and not in people, but just around me, like the afterlife itself. You know how people say you see ghosts and things like that?
Yeah.
It was like that for me. So I feel like for intuitives, that varying degree it's on so many different opposite extremes. And that's really interesting to know, to kind of figure out.
It's scary, especially when you don't know what it is, especially being so young.
Yeah.
In fact, they call that like your traumas that
Mm.
release your gifts. A lot of times is how most of us come, but there's other people who just have these gifts. There's people
Yeah.
who learned it. Mine was a trauma response, which
Hmm.
and that's how my gifts came in. But to everybody it's different. It's hard, but I would
Yeah.
encourage people to talk about it, because keeping it in, you can't sit with that.
No, it is impossible to just hold that kind of heaviness in, especially when you're like 4, 10, 11, 13, and you're just seeing this stuff and you kind of feel like you're crazy. So I completely understand that.
Yeah.
So this kind of leads me into, as you're younger and as you're growing up with these types of gifts, like, how do you feel your perception of the world was altered because you developed these gifts at such a young age?
Oh, I was timid.
Mm,
I
I
mean,
feel
even
you.
now I'm still working through it.
Mm,
I'm very timid. I was afraid to kind of say negative things to people. I was afraid to have an argument with anybody because I was afraid they were going to die. Like
yeah.
that was it. I'm feeling them getting sick. I'm feeling them.
Mhm.
I would feel them get cold if they were going to die. Like I would feel coldness in my body. And so it's scary. It's a scary
Yeah.
thing. And you don't ever want to upset anyone. You never want to leave someone on a bad note. You know what I mean? A lot of it was just, it really messes with your mind. So I went through a lot of my life settling for a lot of things.
Mhm.
I was an untrained empath. I
Oh.
was not utilizing my intuitive abilities in the best ways,
Mhm.
because then I would think that I was overthinking things, right? And
Right.
so it really, it held me back a lot at first until I understood my gifts, until I
Right.
dived into it. But in growing up, oh, I had no idea what to do with it.
There's only so much you can do with it. Because it's like you got dead people in one eye, and then you're like, I'm scared to tell anyone because they're gonna think I'm crazy, and then you're gonna feel like you're about to be put somewhere you don't want to be. It's a lot. It's a lot to tackle. But do you feel? I almost want to ask: do you feel this made you stronger as an individual now than it did before?
Oh, 100%. Even then it was making me stronger, and I didn't know it. I couldn't see it.
Right.
But I will say that, like, now, just tapping into things to be able to understand exactly
Mhm.
what I'm feeling, to make it make sense. And instead of taking it as it's always death, because for me everything was just death because I didn't understand it.
Yes.
Now I know what the difference is. Like, I'm like, this I feel like is something. And then there's
Right.
other times that I feel like, no, there's just something that's going to happen in their life. Or maybe there's something I could say to alter this event. I can't change anything, but
Right.
I can make something a little better, a little easier in the transition process. So
Mm.
I would say it's definitely helped me grow a lot. At this point, I'm no longer timid. I'm not afraid of things either. And I know how to stand up for myself. But that's all working with doing your shadow work and growing within yourself, you know?
It's almost like, in a way, it is the fostering of your own self-confidence, if you could say it that way, but is the most traumatic way to foster self-confidence. You're
It is.
going
The
through
shock.
the growth. It is literally, I can almost kind of, I don't know if you agree to this one. It's like spirit completely slapping you in the face, like, get over it, come on,
Yeah.
push it on. And I feel like we do end up, unfortunately, kind of traveling down some not so great paths because we're constantly put through challenges. So, as you're growing up and you're going through this perception change of the world, like, how, or do you have a day job outside of kind of reading and mediumships? Like, trying to transverse and navigate this world, was it easy for you to hold career paths and different kind of avenues?
Well, interestingly enough, what I actually started off doing, I was a chef for most of my life.
Mhm.
I was a chef since I was cooking since I was 15. And by 17, I was well ahead of my time in the kitchen. And I love cooking. The reason why I love cooking is because I'm an empath, right? And
Mhm.
empaths love to heal. Well, the thing I would say about food, right, is no matter how cranky of a person they are, how bad of a mood they, you put some good food in their mouth, and the smiles, the
It's good.
happiness that they have. And so for me, my love transmuted in food. So
Mhm.
that's what I did first. But now, um, it shifted. I do still have a passion and a love for cooking that will never go away.
Right.
Um, but now I feel like I have finally found that missing puzzle piece. Like I have helped more people now than I ever did in my life. Granted, my
Mhm.
food touched thousands of people for sure. But the like as far as it goes, like what I do now, like there's people who I've seen who started off on drugs and had their lives were all the way ruined, and now they're all the way together. And that's
Mhm.
just talking to me every day. There's people who were suffering from relationships and not seeing their worth, but
Mhm.
now I talk to them, and they do see their worth, they do see their value. Not only do they, but I do too, because I was in relationships that weren't good for me. I
Mhm.
was struggling with a lot of really difficult things I had been through, but now
Mhm.
I have people around me, like the people I have now. Oh, I wouldn't trade them for the world. I have people who actually are supportive.
Mhm.
I have a relationship that actually makes me feel good about myself and not crappy.
Yeah.
I have really great things in my life that I didn't have before. And I didn't have the time to like
Mhm.
pour all of this love into myself. I didn't have the time to do any of this because I was so consumed with work at that
Yeah.
time, what I was doing. Now I do this, but I love it. So
Yeah.
it's different. I would say it wasn't necessarily hard because I still helped and healed people, through different like communications, like through the kitchen and the
Mhm.
background people who were there. But I mean, as far as it goes now, oh my gosh, on a day to day, like, I mean, there's no less than 20 people I talk to. So I'm happy, right?
I mean, you sit here and say you were so busy at one point, Kay. Most of the world does not know you are an absolute workaholic.
I
Between you and Journey, I can't keep up. I can roll with you up until 10 o'clock at night, and I got to go to bed.
I like to work. I'm a Capricorn, okay? It's in my nature. But I don't mind. I like there's so many different people. Like the night crowd, I say is completely different than the day crowd of people who
Yeah.
call. It's just, you never know what you're gonna get in a day.
The night crowd is certainly an interesting group. I can hang, but I can only hang for so long. I can't. I'm a day person. I'm a night owl, but just not for speaking. So I feel all right. So I kind of want to ask. So from essentially going from chef to tarot reader spiritualist, how, like what made you move into that path? Aside, was it like your gifts just
Oh my
opened?
gosh. I already want to get the dirty details.
Of course
Okay,
I
so
do.
okay, okay. So no, I was at like the worst time of my life. I'll tell you what happened. It was the worst time of my
Mhm.
life. I just had a divorce. I just like had a whole bunch of people that moved out of my house. I kind of was at like this snapping point at work where I just didn't feel like anything was getting anywhere. I didn't feel the love anymore. Like I had become a person who I didn't know. I'm not gonna lie, I was an alcoholic at that point. I was not okay with myself.
Mhm.
But I had this random tarot reading. That's what happened at this random tarot reading. And this girl spoke to my soul in a way that just, I mean, everything made sense. I couldn't even tell. If you've had one of those readings, I call those the mother effers. Okay. Those ones, like those, they sit with you. And she read my soul. And I was like, oh my gosh, right? And I was like, I wanted to heal. I wanted to be happy. I didn't want to like sit with all of that crap that I've been with. And I'm sure there's a lot of people who can relate, been through emotional manipulation and relationships. I just didn't believe in myself. I had zero confidence. Like this person you get to see today is not who I was a couple years ago, right?
Yeah.
But every single day that I do this, every single day that I help people, every day that I'm surrounded by the proper support system, oh my
Mhm.
God, like literally, it's a change. It makes me feel like I'm doing the right thing and it makes me want to get up and do it again.
Mm.
Okay. So like I know it's a huge transition, but once I was already starting, whenever I was cooking, I was already reading tarot then.
Yeah.
But I just wasn't full time with it. But I'll tell you what, I had a lot of supportive people who looked out for me and kept me on the way.
Oh, I'm so glad because a lot of us don't have that support. You just gotta wake up and hope you find your way a lot of the times for
Yeah.
some other spiritualists, because I think the audience, maybe they are, maybe they're not familiar with it, but this path that you walk on, this spiritual path, is a very lonely path. Even if you have the greatest family, the greatest support system, it can be an extremely lonely experience, and it will cause you to isolate yourself. You're seeing people, the world, in a way that you never thought it could be. You're seeing the best and the worst in what society has to give you. And you just have to just accept it for what it is. And that can be a very jarring experience for a lot of us. Was it like that for you, kind of coming to that realization?
It it was. I mean, I think just in itself, it's scary because this is like a lot of people don't believe in this.
Yeah.
And my family comes from a very religious background, like many people that we know, and they don't understand at all what it's like. I'm not a religious person, right? I'm a
Right.
spiritual person.
Yeah.
So I don't religion had a lot of conformities for me, and I felt like
Mhm.
I was stuck in a box all of the time. I was afraid of everything. I
Yeah.
was afraid if I did this wrong. I was afraid if I did that. And it didn't make sense to me.
Mhm.
Wow. So someone could be this horrible person. They could just beg for forgiveness. It didn't make sense to me. I
Right.
wanted something that made sense. And with spirituality, there was no exclusion. There was
Mhm.
never anything it was just come as you are, be who you are, love who you are.
Yeah.
I still believe that there's something, a higher purpose, right? But
Mhm.
I'm not in a box anymore. I feel free.
Yeah.
I know that I'm going to make mistakes, and I know that I'm, not a perfect person, but
Mhm.
I'm able to look at that. I'm able to see what issues I have and be accountable for them.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to do that before. And so trying to foster in my family and my friends now to see that I'm, tarot's not negative,
Yeah.
spirituality is not evil. There's nothing bad about this, right? We love what we do. We help people. We
Yeah.
want to get to the healing parts of this. And now I feel like a lot of people in my circle are now starting to see that. So it is very different because they're educated. They
Yes.
know the difference. Uh, but starting out, the people around you don't understand this at all. And
No.
it scares them because they're taught to be afraid. But I'll say this, if you have to be afraid of something, my question is, are you really living your life to the best, right? Make yourself live, risk a little bit. What is the worst that's going to happen? Oh my
Right.
gosh, I'm going to tell you about your life. That's what I'm going to do with these cards. I'm going to tell you about your life.
I'm gonna tell you what you're
You
doing
might learn something. You might learn something.
wrong.
But that's the worst of it.
Yeah.
But it just feeling free, and I love, and I don't feel sheltered. I don't feel like I'm doing something wrong.
Mm.
Man, I'll do this every day of the week and not bat an eye.
It is hard though, because it's almost like that. It's like the visualization of perfection that we feel like we have to be. Because let's kind of break it down a little bit. We, as the ones with the gifts, like there's some of us, we all have gifts in our own way, but some of us are, those gifts are in the forefront, like me, like you, and like our other friends here at My Psychic Connection, right? Those gifts are at the forefront. And so we are almost held to a higher standard with people around us. And that becomes extremely difficult to just be okay with, because then you start putting that expectation on yourself. And then you start kind of hammering it in. I have to be the certain way. And then when you make
Right.
a religious aspect to it, especially when you're not quite religious, you're more spiritual, which is a distinction, a little bit of a difference,
Yeah.
but a distinction, it gets really messy. And I almost wonder, in a way, it's like that perception that we have of ourselves. Sometimes I have wondered if our clients see that perception within us as well. Do they also think that we are perfect? We are supposed to know everything, which is kind of how this show got started.
Yeah.
This is
We're
how this started.
human.
Shameless plug. Shameless
Yeah.
plug. But go ahead, take a breather. Let's before we get into the next question. Take a sip of water, because we
You're
getting
right though,
into it.
because it's the truth. They do. It's people think that you're just supposed to have it all together. I tell people all the time, I am
Mm.
not together. at all.
No.
I'm not together. I'm just telling you what I get the message, but I'm not together. Like I am crazy. You love crazy if you love me.
I think we all, honestly, if you work in a profession, you got a couple screws loose. They're good screws, but the screws are just not there. Because I know I am crazy as a trapped cat in a paper bag. That is the level I am. Like, I know exactly what my flaws are, but you're going to get all of me. It's a mess, but you're going to get it. I also want to take a moment really quick to remind the audience that you are 100% allowed to ask. Like if you've ever had a burning question you've wanted to ask a psychic or a tarot reader, a medium, this is your chance on this show. Ask your burning questions because we are here to answer them. And we want to give you guys some of those questions you may have never thought to ask or, maybe wanted to but never could ask. So go ahead in the comment box if you're watching through YouTube or Facebook. We will answer those questions or a few of them at the last 15 minutes of the show. Okay. The next question, because we're still just diving deeper into it.
Diving deep. Come on. Bare my soul tonight. Bare my soul. They gonna leave me exposed.
Look, what was the statement for today? Naked as a jaybird. That's what we are.
Well, here we are.
So my next question is, when you first entered this world, the spiritual world, especially in terms of work and career, how do you feel other practitioners were to you when you started this line of work? How do you feel you were welcomed or treated?
They love me. I call shit.
No, I mean,
they love me. No,
you said it was wrong.
I want to say it was negative, but they love me. Listen, because the thing is that a lot of times, people like practitioners love to read other people. They love to read energy. They love I don't like that. I'm like, but I don't want your energy. But a lot of them, they just they're wow, you got to get, or they'll watch me read and they'll tell a friend who tells a friend. And I got introduced to a lot of great people to even kind of be where I'm at. I'm very blessed in that regards. But it's so interesting because the more you move in, a lot of those people who helped me start out are nowhere to be found now because the jealousy is still there. There is a lot of jealousy in this. They don't mind helping you, but once you excel further than them, they don't like keeping you there. But that's regular people. That's regular life.
Yeah.
But what I had to, again, learn myself is just set my boundaries and set my expectations with people. And also, my favorite quote, when someone shows you who they are, you believe them. Okay. And people always wonder, how do you stay so calm, Kay? That's how I stay so calm, because I already know who that person is. I already know what they're capable of doing, right? I already know what their actions are, how they treat other people, how they talk about other people in front of me, right? So I can only expect so much of them. So once I stopped holding people to this impossible standard and started looking at people as just like me, and I started trusting my intuition on things, a lot of things changed for me. So the people who I did start out with, they're not here. A lot of them aren't here now. Some of them are. I do have some wonderful day ones.
Yeah.
But a majority of them aren't here, but they love me when I started. They always love me when they first meet me.
Look, my experience with UK when the first way I met Kay, which is, this is some behind the scenes foolishness. I met Kay, what was it, like a year or two ago? Something like that. It feels like years.
It feels like forever.
Yeah. But I met Kay about a year or two ago. I was doing a test reading and I read Kay. Kay was the first person I read for outside of my friend group. Outside of people I kind of knew, because I was a private practice intuitive. I wasn't really out there. Kay messaged me and said, "How much do you charge for a reading?" And she snatched me up so quick. And I was like, oh my God. Kay, I was intimidated by Kay at first because she is so straightforward with you. I'm not used to people like that. And so, especially in a community like this, where you'll get a lot of fluff and a little bit of, I just want to be your friend, but you're really not my friend. Kay is very straightforward. And Kay has been nothing but a magnetic personality since the moment I met her. Me and Kay, They have snatched me everywhere at this point. She has brought
Like a
me
child.
to, she said, "Hey, you rabbit girl, let's go." That's what Kay has done for me. Like the magneticism of your personality and that honesty that you bring to what you do is so beyond refreshing. I don't know why anyone wouldn't love you, quite frankly.
Well,
You,
you know. The thing that the thing that I noticed that people don't love, it's not that I've done something wrong, right? A lot of times they can't handle a sense, a layer of truth, right?
yeah,
Once you start telling people like what you won't take or what you won't settle for,
yes,
people always switch up on you,
they
right?
do.
And because I wasn't that person anymore who was just doing for everyone and taking everyone's crap, people looked at me a little bit different.
Yeah,
Because they're used to being able to, people will, where's the takers have no limits, so the givers must have some.
yes.
I always got to quote, guys. That's the thing
No,
about me.
he's got to
But
quit everything.
seriously, and so it's, people are never going to let you, people are who they are. People will never let you down. You
Yeah,
have to just believe people.
yeah,
And it doesn't matter if I gave someone the world, they can still find a flaw in me.
yeah,
You have to stop allowing, and this is for anyone, you have to stop allowing people to control who you are and what you're going to be. Just tell people straight up who you are. And if they don't stick around, then they're probably not meant to be there, to be honest. I have the best people in my life now because they know what I won't settle for. They know what my expectations are for them. And if they can't handle that, then they don't deserve me, because I'm a hell of a friend. I'm a hell of a partner. I'm a hell of a business person. So, you have great qualities here. It's up to you to use this beautiful Capricorn.
it's up to you to embrace the
It's up to
Capricorn.
you.
You got to remind everyone you a Capricorn today.
Always.
You a mess, but I love you so much. So for the next question, I kind of want to dive into like what were the negative outcomes or like the negative emotions that made life more challenging when developing these gifts? Because this was a hard. It was
So
a sliding scale.
I think the thing is just knowing things,
Yeah.
right? Knowing things, and knowing things before other people, having
Mm,
to convince yourself, having to figure out if there's anything you could do about it, having to deal with anxiety. I suffer from anxiety really bad. Like,
yeah.
anxiety's my worst condition.
Yeah.
Because you're always worried about what's to come next, and then you see things, and you don't can't be the bearer of bad news all the time to people, and these are people you care and you love,
Yeah.
I mean, that you pick up information and you get downloads on, right? That's the heart of anything. That's the hardest thing. I have to sit here and you have to watch people go through their journey.
Yeah.
um but there's not anything that you can do about it, because you're not meant to. They have to ask you. I don't just give people free advice. Like,
Yeah.
people have to ask you. So it's really hard sometimes to cut that self off for you. You know what I mean? To be like, let me not step into their life too much. They have to live it. It's
Yeah.
difficult.
It is. I find that to be also very difficult because it's like you want to save everybody, but you also have to come to the understanding. There's a song. I don't know what song it is, but you can't save them. They don't want to be saved. You just cannot save the world. And when you come into that, it can really dampen existence
Yeah.
a little bit because you don't want to see anyone hurt. You don't want to see anyone foster this negativity. You know where they're going, but you have to just let them go through it. That has actually been the hardest thing for me, myself personally, to just allow people to be people and allow them their human experience and to mess up.
Yeah.
But we still mess up on our look. We're not perfect beings, but we also mess up on this journey too. And the
Yeah.
thing is, you can always correct your path. There's no such thing as like an abysmal F up where you can't ever fix it. You can fix it. You just have to want to fix it.
Yeah.
You just got to let people want to fix it.
You have to have, the thing is that, and I will say this, it makes the hugest, all of the difference in the world, literally the hugest difference in the world by having the right people around you. And a lot of times people go, where am I supposed to find these people? Where, sometimes you're not looking in the right place.
Yeah.
I have friends from all over the world, okay, who I have never even spent 5 minutes in person with. But guess what? They are better friends to me than there's people I've known my whole life.
Yeah.
I have, someone who's only been in my life for 3 years, almost 4, right?
Yeah.
And that's a better person than anyone, literally anyone else has ever been in my life. Like,
Mhm.
you have people who come into your life and they are meant to be there, right?
Yeah.
They're meant to make that change. And it doesn't matter if you met them last week or
Mhm.
10 years ago. We have to stop giving people credit and titles that
Yeah.
don't deserve it. We have to stop giving people these, oh, this is my best friend. Oh, this is my lover. This is my twin flame. You know what I mean? This is this. Why are we giving these people who don't deserve that? Tell me this. Is your best friend, is your partner, is your twin flame making you feel good when you go home at night? No. Are they checking in when you're sick? Are they taking care of you when you have
Yeah.
nothing? Like, it really, like, you don't have the right support around you. I thought for a long time I had the right support until I saw what the
Mm.
right support was.
Yeah.
It's totally different. Okay.
Yeah.
I can tell you right now, I can tell my best friend I want to go start up a random charity. And he gonna support it. He's like, what the hell? He gonna support it, right? I
Right.
can say, I can say these crazy things, and it'll, like, okay, I may not go with you, but you got it. That's what you need to have in your life. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? You need to have people, and then you need to have people who be real with you too. Because I can tell you, same way. If I'm
Yep.
doing something wrong, I'm gonna hear about it. You have to just have people who will give you that love, one way or the other. And if you don't have these right people in your life, you're gonna know, because you're gonna find that you're very depressed.
Mhm.
You're gonna find that you're shutting yourself off from the world. You're gonna find yourself not wanting to live and do fun things and go out. You lose yourself. Put the
Yeah.
right support systems around you. It makes all the difference. And that's honestly been my biggest motivator, and honestly the thing that's helped me the most out of all of this.
Mhm. Everyone who comes into your life comes for a reason and a season. Sometimes both, sometimes one or the other. And we just have to let people be what they are in that moment to us. And then when it's time, let them go, but then welcome new ones in. It's really hard because this falls a lot into friendships and stuff. Friendships are just, even I don't understand friendships.
Yeah,
I
listen,
just
friendships are
know.
just tough to even, honestly, they're so, friendships are hard to navigate because, like, you have to deal with different personalities.
Yep.
You chose these people.
Yep.
You chose to deal with these people,
You
and
did.
you have to deal with your own personality too, and, like, find a balance. Friendships are probably the hardest thing, I would say, in all of this to navigate, because
Hmm.
you're picking up your intuitive nature. You want to help
Yeah.
them. You also know when they're doing something wrong. Like, it's too much. It's a lot.
And look, this
That's
actually leads into my next question, which is really great. I love how we naturally just ended up here.
smoothing.
Yeah, sliding through this like butter. But it's kind of like I want to know with these gifts, how has your perception changed at all? Do you find it harder to get closer to people, or do you find that you're maybe a little bit more apathetic towards people?
Oh, a little
I
bit of
know
both. That's
that
a
goes
difficult.
really
It's a
quick.
little bit of both because I don't take shit anymore. I
Yeah,
don't. I don't. But at the same time, there's some things, like, there's some clients that really stick with you.
yeah.
I have trouble sleeping at night a lot of times. I get a lot of nightmares,
Mhm.
because the readings I do sometimes can border on very sensitive things.
Yeah.
Um, as far as it goes with the reading, I'm a life guidance kind of person. I
Mhm.
like to, yes, I can answer your direct questions, whatever, but I like to dive deep. I'm a shadow work reader, right? I like to do inner child healing. I
Mhm.
like deep things. I like chakra balancing.
Yes.
And with that, you're not getting soft stories with that. You're not getting my boyfriend cheated on me. No, you're getting pain, you're getting hurt, you're getting sorrow. And so it's a lot. I I already have some things that I struggle with depression wise and things like that. That doesn't help. But it also helps me to look at people a little bit differently too, because now you realize everybody has a story.
Yeah.
Everybody does. And everybody has a road that they got here on. I don't always feel sorry for people if I see them not making any changes, but I'm more empathetic in the fact that I don't just write people off so much anymore. Like I just I may be the person who oftentimes give you too many sides to hear. That's the Libra rising in me. But I may give you a lot of ways to toss the coin over because you don't always see the situation from the other side, you know?
So then how do you feel like people outside the spiritual world, like our clients for the most part, how do you feel they perceive you just in general? When this is your personality, this is who you are. How do you feel they perceive you?
I mean, a lot of people just think I'm cool as hell, to be honest with
I
you.
mean, you're not wrong.
Because I'm very, what you see is what you get out of me.
Mhm.
I don't know. There's a lot of things that my face says it all. You know what I mean? My mouth don't say it, my face will. So I don't really lie to people. I don't have a reason to.
Mhm.
The person who I was, I forgave and I moved on from that. And I make it very clear to people I'm not the same person that I was. You're not getting that same version of me. So you don't get to hold me accountable for something that I did then. You get to
Yes.
talk to me now for who I am now. So I think people like it was an adjustment,
Mhm.
especially for people who already knew me, but now it's a lot different, you
Yeah.
know?
I can totally understand that because with me, it's just like, well, this is it. I don't know what to
Yeah.
do for you
Yeah,
no
like,
more.
what you see is what you get.
That's something I've had to learn actually myself and just not judge myself for how I am as a person, as a reader, as all these things. This is just what you're getting. And if you can't be cool with that, I don't know what to do for you. There's
Yeah.
nothing else I can do for you. Getting that level of comfortable with yourself is extremely hard in this industry and with the gifts we have because it takes, I like to call it self preservation. It takes a
Yeah.
lot of self preservation in order to feel that way. So, in terms of clients, this is going to be an interesting one. As a reader, as an empath, as a businesswoman in general, how do you deal with clients who overstep boundaries? Because some of them, they do like to come at us crazy because we're supposed to have all the answers. And
Listen, the block button knows no bounds with me. You
the block is
understand?
a
I don't
turn
have
off.
time. This is my full-time job. I tell people this all the time. This is my full-time job. I am a single mother. Okay. I created my business from the ground up. You will respect me. Like I literally have, like you have to say that to these people sometimes because they
Yeah,
don't understand. They just think, oh, you're gonna be on call at 2 a.m. No, I'm not. I'm
no,
sick today. Maybe my son don't feel good. Like I have things going on in my life, or maybe I just need a day off. You know, you don't get to berate me. And before I used to feel bad and I would answer every single message,
yeah,
all hours of the night. But now I'm very different. And it's interesting too, because
mhm,
people will want you to solve their life problems and don't want to give you anything for it. And I'd be like,
yeah,
you got me. Okay, you don't pay for this time. I gotta sit here because they just think, oh, she's just pulling a card. No, we
no,
feel you. We
yeah,
hit it sits with you. You have to clear your energy. I have to go make sure I'm all like good to go. There's times where I'm not myself, where my regular relationships that I have, my
mhm,
friendships, my family, my partner, like I have a hard time sometimes, like navigating those relationships because sometimes I've already dealt with so much of whatever that I'm
yep,
snappy or I'm tuned out. You know what I mean? And like those people don't deserve that because they didn't bring that energy to me. So you
mhm,
have to recognize when you're bringing that stuff into your personal relationships. So you
yeah.
have to set boundaries.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of clients don't realize how sometimes when you send us a question, A, we pick up on it immediately. We feel it. And then a lot of the times, especially if it's heavy, I've had clients message me at God knows what time in the daggone morning about some of the worst things possible. And then I just break out into a fit of tears because I did not expect that on a Sunday evening at 3 p.m. That was not the goal. And
I'll be
there'll be
like,
it's just sometimes you're like, oh my God. It's like, oh my God, what is going on? And then you get hit with their emotions because even if it's in a text, we can feel what you're trying to
mm-hmm.
we can feel what you're feeling. And then we just got to throw our hands in the air and we got to go cry it out because I'm like, I didn't want to do this.
I didn't ask for this.
Talking to people with heightened emotions, people with heightened sensitivity, heightened emotions, they forget that we feel what they feel times 10.
Yeah.
I think they don't realize that. I've never met a client who truly understood that we feel this on a level that is astronomical. And then we got to sit there and be grumpy on the bed, eating some Cheetos or something, crying about it because it just hurts us because you're hurting. And then we have to be gruff with you if you're being a little bit more like demanding. It sucks. I hate
and then it doesn't feel good to tell people, like, it doesn't feel good to set these boundaries. It's just you would hope that people would understand why you're doing it. And sometimes you have to deal with whatever emotions that person may throw back at you because they didn't like your response. But we're not punching bags either. We are literally human. Okay.
We really are.
I'm giving it like there's days when I just go, I mean, I may have started my day at 5 a.m. and I'm done at 5:30 because I'm like, I will not be anyone's punching bag today. And sometimes it's interesting because I noticed it is like literally like people may not believe in astrology. I do. And it'll be a collective. It'll be all Geminis this morning, and it'll be all Leos later on in the afternoon, and all Sagittarius. And I'm like, as a collective, y'all need to chill, okay? Because y'all trying to drive me up a wall today. I'm not talking. As soon as I hear it, be like, they don't show their birthday at the top of the screen, and you're like, oh gosh, please be nice to me.
Me, every time I see the water signs, I'm like, ooh,
emotions.
Every time the water signs
come, the air signs, they get me because I'm a Libra rising. But air signs, they overthink the real, but they are so entertaining. Listening to an air sign's mind roll, I'm so fascinated. Shout out to the air signs out there. Y'all are fascinating creatures. I don't trust you, but you're fascinating.
Look, I can only imagine what you think about me on the days my mind is just like burr, 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 at 600 miles per hour because I'm a fire sign sun. I'm a Sag sun with a Gemini moon.
Oh,
I can only imagine what
it's the Gemini. That's right, the Gemini. It's the Gemini. Y'all Geminis is crazy. I love them, but y'all crazy too. Y'all got literally several personalities, not just one. There's several in there.
There's several. And then you mix it with a fire sign and some water sign energy. You said, put the bunny girl in the blender. Let's go.
It's a great time. Listen, to spend a day in the like, I'm like, I can't even imagine if my Libra was like my main squeeze. I don't know. My Libra gets the Libra in, and I'm like, ooh. But they're fascinating.
You don't stop thinking at all. It is constant. I know good and well I've gotten on my parents' nerves when I used to go talk to them in the kitchen when I used to live with them. 5 o'clock in the morning, just be and my dad would just be like, "Are you okay?" No, it's just the air sign coming out. But it's 5 o'clock in the morning, everyone getting ready for work. I'd just be running my mouth like a marathon. I can only imagine. Look, don't get inside this brain. It's dangerous. Air sign is dangerous.
Yeah, they have to let Squirrel take them on the astrology journey. Squirrel and journey. We know when we get off our clients, and we're like,
Then you deal with your own sign in a client reading. It's like,
oh yeah. Oh, I be judging myself hard. I'd be like, ew.
Look, sometimes I forget I gotta judge myself when another Sagittarius comes on. I'm like, but why are we doing this?
I be judging the heck out of. I'm like, I don't know why you are dating a Capricorn. Listen,
Oh my
all
god,
they want to do is work and make money. That's it.
that's it.
Yes, I do.
I feel that though. I like. Well, I don't like the work part, but the money part is. See,
Yeah.
that's where
See,
you can
now
get.
come on over to the dark side.
I'm already there. You see me here, don't? I'm already here. Oh my gosh, we are a mess. So, to get into our next question, how do you feel being a spiritual practitioner has changed your viewpoints and outlook on people? Like, where do you think, or where do you feel almost that are you? It's almost like, yes, you're a little bit more apathetic, but also you're very empathetic. So it's like, on where on the spectrum do you rationalize it within yourself, you know?
I I don't know. You know what? At this point, I just trust I trust in myself a lot more.
Mhm,
I trust in my abilities, which is a difference. You can have abilities and you cannot trust in them, right? I
mhm,
trust in my abilities that I'm making the right decisions, and whether it be I need to set an expectation or a boundary for someone, or whether that be I need to allow people in. I'm very good at holding myself accountable and setting up checks and balances in my life. Like I have people who will literally hold me accountable. And that makes a difference. I need people who are going to be me
yes.
in my relationships. I need that. I need someone who's going to look at me and tell me when I'm being awful today. I need someone who's going to tell me you're being really great. You're being so. I need that,
Mm,
And in spirituality, this is the difference. This is where I say it makes a huge difference from religion to spirituality. Is this in spirituality, you are meant to face all of these things, good and bad.
yes,
You're meant to hold yourself accountable and the people around you so that you can grow as an individual.
yes.
So I think with spirituality, if anything, it just brings in that balance. It
Mm,
makes you more aware.
yeah. I can
Yeah.
totally relate to that, honestly. There's a lot of self-awareness that comes with the challenges of having gifts like this. So, Kay,
Yeah.
we did a bang up job today, but
Oh,
I have
we did.
one more question for you. And this is more
I'm
so for
ready.
the audience. If you could convey your feelings about the type of work you do as a spiritual worker, what would you say?
Convey my feelings on what I do. So, like, say what I do.
No, more so, how do you feel that your work has impacted the lives of others? How
Oh,
would you
well,
convey your feelings
by
about what you do?
I think it just literally changes lives. Like, not to be like, I'm not a doctor, but
Mhm.
I'm a doctor of the spirit, if you will.
Okay, Miss
Look at it
Spirit.
sliding some in there. I'm a doctor of the spirit. No, I've just watched a lot of people change. I've literally seen people at their worst where I was, and now I see them at their best, or on their way to their best, working their way through. But I see people just literally. I've watched people literally transform in front of my eyes. Lack of confidence, lack of patience, lack of respect, uh, just all of those things, and watching how people have grown, it makes a heck of a difference. So yeah, I guess that's how I've watched people grow, and that makes me happy.
It's a rough experience, but I think every moment of it has been a blessing in its own way.
Yeah.
It kind of sucked along the way, but it really has been wonderful. So, Kay, thank you so much for taking your time out your day and answering these questions for me. But we're not done yet. Don't
Oh,
get excited. It ain't time yet.
okay.
Because I really do love how in depth we're getting. I do want to get into some audience member questions if they have any for us, and
Woo,
let them
open it up
ask
to the
us questions.
audience. Be nice to me, guys. Be nice
So
to me.
let's go ahead and get started. Let's see where our first question is. So Miss Barbie says, "That's good. I'm glad you feel free, Kay." Aww.
Thank you.
We love a free K, a free butterfly. So Miss Maricela wants to know, when did you realize you had gifts and what made you realize? Ooh, that's a good one.
Okay, so when I realized like it was like a gift, It was 8. I was 8 for sure. That was when the pastor told me flat out, like, prophecy is a gift. I
Oh,
didn't know that I could do something, but like I got it, but I didn't get it. I was 8.
right.
I got it, but I didn't get it. I don't think I really got it until I was 18. I didn't
Mhm.
understand what to do with it. I didn't even understand myself.
Yeah.
28.
20.
28 is my number. I know the eights are strong. Eights have followed me. Multiples of 8, things of that nature, but um 28 changed my life. So yeah.
Yeah. Eights are always a big number. So
Hey.
let's see. To our next viewer question. I needed to hear this about friends. Yes. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
That was from Nikki. Yeah, the friendship part is really hard. It's really hard. It's very difficult to make friends, keep friends, understand the dynamics of people enough to let those friendships foster, and then put yourself as an intuitive on top of that. Oh my God.
Yeah, I mean, friendships are really just relationships as a whole are hard to navigate. And I think that we all need to be a little bit more gentler with ourselves when it comes to cut yourself a break. Every relationship that failed or didn't work out is a trauma. And
Yeah,
you have to work through that and you need to grieve it. And grief comes in many stages. We don't give ourselves enough credit the fact that we're grieving so many things in our lives. Grief isn't just with death, grief is in all aspects of growing from a toddler to a teenager. Your
yeah,
parents treat you differently. Growing from a teenager to an adult, your life is completely, you're thrown out into the world. You have to deal with all these very real situations, and people can be cruel. People
yeah,
can be very hurtful, and people don't always take your feelings into account. So you have to set what your expectations are in relationships
yeah,
with people and what you will allow people to get away with. So
yeah. And also remember those boundaries that you set, it's going to be painful to set a boundary that hard with people that you think, especially or thought were like there for you and real for you. And when you start setting those boundaries, you're going to notice a shift in how everyone looks at you, how everyone treats you, and how people are just different towards you. But those boundaries are so important. It doesn't matter if you're intuitive or if you're just like Suzanne from down the street. Those boundaries with everybody, your mom, your dad, your brother, your sister, everybody, is so important. And I did not realize that until so late in my life. But boundaries are how you get through literally everything in this world.
yeah.
Yes. So let's see. Do we have any more? Let's see. Kelly says, "You're right. People do not need to wonder what I'm thinking. I'll tell you, boundaries. They do not like that. They're still looking at you as a doormat. You used to keep out for others to walk all over us." Yeah,
Hmm.
it's
Yep,
fact.
that's the truth.
That is hard facts. And ooh, that hit a little too hard. I feel like
But
I've
you
been
can
there, right?
always pull that doormat back in the house.
Ooh, the doormat need to go for good.
Why is you here? Get you a doormat that says, "Why is you here?" Check your energy before you come in this house.
No, we need to find that online because that's
I
about to
start.
be.
I started putting. I listen seriously. I started putting things around my house now, like stage around my house. And if someone is not meant to be here, they do not come in or they do not stay long. I don't play. Okay, you do not get to mess up this sacred space. I have a rule, literally. Like, I don't let people in my bedroom. That's like
Like,
very like be mindful because who you allow. Like you sleep in your bed.
yeah.
Okay. So imagine you letting someone who's negative towards you in your bed, in your
Mm,
house, in your room.
ugh.
Ooh, protect y'all energy.
Mm-mm.
It's so serious.
Put
Protect
some
your
salt
energy
under
because you
your
don't know
door.
what you're letting in.
Yes, because people, they'll love you today, but then they'll put some on you tomorrow. They'll put that
Yeah, no, you ain't allowed in here. It's a
down.
sacred space.
Yep. Don't come in here unless you got big dollar bills and an offering for my. You gotta have an
For my
offering.
guys, right over there.
Exactly. Put it right there with the rest of the. Oh my goodness. All right. So our next question or comment. Sophia asks, um, when do readings, if the same question was asked 6 months apart, for example, why would the answer change if it did? Is that what you pick up at that time. However, the plan, or has the plan for spirit changed? Ooh.
Okay, so I love this question.
Yes.
Beautiful question. First of all, the reason why you get different answers a lot of times is because energy is definitely changing. You are making decisions. When we say energy change, we're not using that as an excuse.
Mm-hmm.
You made a decision and you chose to do something different. So then your pet, you have, this is what I tell people, and this is where some psychics do not say this, and they should.
Mm-hmm.
There are several paths. There's never just one path for someone to take. That's a complete false. It's a lie. I don't care. I will say that to whoever. That's wrong. There's never just one path someone can take. There's several paths. And the thing is when you go and you get a psychic reading, you're asking for something in the future that has not happened yet.
Yep.
So when I tell you this, that's going to alter your state and make you change your mind about the decisions that you make. So now 6 months later, maybe you were, let's throw a question out there. Let's say you were asking about a job. Where are you going to get this job?
Mm-hmm.
And we say yes, because we do see this job coming through. But now you done took that yes and said, oh, I'm going to come to work late. I'm not going to finish my task on time. Then you want to come back to us 6 months later and say, oh, I didn't get the job. Well, yeah, you didn't get the job because you did nothing to set yourself up for that. So I'm just using that as a random thing. But understand that works in every situation. Be very careful on the things that you ask. Also, you don't want to know the answer to everything. And if you get me as your psychic, I don't always answer everything because I'm being very upfront with people. I'm not going to tell you certain things because I know what you're going to go and do with that.
Ooh.
And sometimes you have to have that line even with your clients.
Yeah.
And sometimes it costs me. It does. But I feel better going to bed at night knowing that I didn't mess up someone's future.
Look, that's fair, because I tell my clients all the time, even if it's just like a hotline client, I will say you could breathe, sneeze, exist, knock your head in the northeast direction, and your whole path will change. There's no one straight line to this. Literally, someone could walk in front of you who wasn't supposed to take the northeast Main Street direction to go to work that day and change your path completely.
Yeah.
Free will does impact every reading that we will get as readers. And people don't like to hear that, because then that holds people accountable for what they do. Your
spirituality.
Will, that part.
You don't want to be held accountable, but you will.
Spirit has a plan, but you can also counter that plan. You don't have to follow that plan. That's up to you. Doesn't mean you're a bad person for that. Do what you will. But when the thing changes so far out of the left field that you weren't expecting it to change, then it's going to be different. So just remember, people's free will can impact how your reading comes out. Your free will will impact it. It doesn't matter if it was today, yesterday, 6 months, or 6 years from now. It's all free will. You are gifted that free will. You can change it at will. But that just is what it is. Because sometimes people love to blame us for how things come off. And it's really not that. We're telling you what we see today. You could sneeze and it'll be different tomorrow. I have to be so direct with clients when I tell them that.
Very direct.
Very extremely direct. All right, so I want to see if we have any more comments or questions from anyone in the audience. We got like a good little bit of time yet. Kelly says, Bunny, great job interviewing Kay. Thank you so much. I'm so glad. Corinna, she says, thank you, Kay. Awesome. Yes. Oh, that's my mom. Hi, Mom. She says, my bunny left. Hi, Mommy. I love you too.
Thank you, Bon's mom, for creating her.
Oh, she's gonna go take all the credit. She's gonna call me later. She's like, I am the creator.
This is a great show. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you so much for having me here, Bon. I can't wait to see them later on tonight.
Yes, Kay's gonna be on tonight at 10 p.m. She's gonna be doing her readings and stuff. It'll be a normal show. And then Journey Ryan, the man of the hour, our host, our everything here, our CEO, he shall be on at midnight doing Journey Ryan live. So you guys, this was a phenomenal show. Kay, thank you so much. You have led me to so many firsts. Girl, we're gonna talk about it later. We're gonna have someone talk about it. You've been through so much, and so thank you so much for being my very first guest. And everyone, thank you so much for coming and supporting. Welcome to season 2. I'm your host, Bunny Sugars, and quite frankly, we're gonna see you guys next Monday, where we're going to be interviewing the amazing Squirrel. We're going to get into it with Squirrel because I have so many questions. I love Squirrel so much. But thank you all so much. Have a beautiful evening and take care of yourselves. Bye-bye.